start with you, Munish, on this one, right? Tiffin's been at the forefront of home delivery for a long, long time, including hot boxes. I remember this was all well before the pandemic. You also pointed out how demand for your delivery at Tiffin grew, and that actually really helped your restaurants. In addition to that, I've also read about some of the public spats you've had with these delivery companies. So maybe talk about what you think the future of delivery is, and the mix between dining in and getting delivery. And second, how do you manage the balance of power between the restaurant and the delivery companies?
Well, first of all, the dining habits and the eating habits changed dramatically during the pandemic. And a lot of them is when the pandemic is hopefully over very, very soon, I don't think it's going to go back to 2019. Some of those habits are here to stay. People are very comfortable now getting deliveries, getting carry out, eating at their home. Having said that, to Jay's point and to Alan's point, fine dining is not dying anytime soon. People still love to go out. People still love to hang out with their friends, have a drink at the bar. But the delivery carry-out business will definitely play a bigger role going forward, whether it's a mom and pop operation or a big multi-unit chain. Cheesecake Factory is an example. They can't even keep up with their carry-out and delivery orders. Even today, there was an article in the journal about how they're struggling. And on Friday, Saturday, they actually shut down their delivery and carry-out, so they can actually just focus on the dine-in customers. So those changes are here to stay. And as far as the delivery platforms are concerned and the balance of power, they have all the power. We have nothing right now. They're big billion-dollar companies. They have the advertising dollars. They're doing some stuff that's, if not illegal, not ethically correct, like buying domain names that say tiffinelkinspark.com. So if you search for our restaurant, Tiffin Elkins Park, it's not our restaurant that shows up. It's Grubhub's ad that says tiffinelkinspark.com. They have stopped it since then. But they do have the power, they do have the money, they have the marketing dollars, they have the size. And most restaurants that use them are mom and pop operators. They cannot even dream about competing or not working with them, because a lot of time the question has been asked to me, well, why don't you stop using Grubhub then? But Grubhub is so ingrained in our business that we would overnight, we risk losing 10 to 12% of our sales if you stop using Grubhub. So it is almost like a necessary evil at this point.
Yeah, I just do reservations, because that's what OpenTable does. OpenTable bids on, like Fork Restaurant. When you type in Fork Restaurant, OpenTable Fork Restaurant will appear before Fork Restaurant appears. So that's how they get the clicks and all that. And but if I quit OpenTable, which I have 3 times, every single time I feel like a jerk because I'm going back to OpenTable. I've tried every other platform as well, and I always end up back at OpenTable.
It's interesting. Certainly our restaurants deal with these platforms, but in the hotel sector, we've been dealing with the OTAs for the last 5 to 7 years, and just such a heavy intermediation by all of the OTAs. All of the online travel agencies are owned by Booking.com or Expedia.com. And they do the same thing with hotels, right? They buy up every keyword, and so it's very difficult. Munish, you mentioned it a couple of times, and Alan, I know you're very active, but social media relevancy is one of the few ways you can try to drive traffic to your own website and drive original demand. But otherwise, it's unaffordable for a single hotel or a restaurant to try to compete with some of these intermediaries that have lots of that have very little expenses to deal with, but have tons and tons of fee revenue. And it's just, I don't know what happens, but that intermediation just makes a business that's already getting beat up on margins, right? With inflation, with wage inflations, with the cost of materials that we use in our food and in our delivery, everything's going up. Yet these intermediators are in there taking more and more of a VIG with every coming year. And like you said, everyone says, why would you deal with OTAs? And we try to minimize how much contribution we take from OTAs. And, at our independent hotels, particularly, we try to keep it around 20%. But it's very, very hard to do. And it does require, you do have to spend a lot more of your own money if you really want to be effective at it. Either that or you kind of capitulate and do the best you can. But these intermediaries, they scare me, right? Because there's nothing really stopping them. And they have the ability to just leverage more eyeballs than we ever will as owner operators.
So let's assume, I think what I'm hearing from each of you is it's almost like the cost of doing business at this point, right? You kind of have to work with them. But is there any kind of internal benchmark or goals that you use for yourself? Something like, X% of the delivery have to be direct, or Y% of reservation should come directly to my site, and you kind of manage the balance of power somehow?
I mean, we internally have goals, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the goals are going to be achieved, because it's kind of out of your control at this point how many Grubhub orders come on a Friday evening, or Uber Eats. Or what you can do is focus on your own marketing, on your own website, driving customers to your website through social media, or as we do, we have a very robust email campaign. We have tens and thousands of people on our email list. So we keep offering them specials and keep reminding them that the prices on these platforms are higher. To this date, it amazes me that people do not realize that most every restaurant charges higher on those platforms to make up for the commission that they're paying them. Tiffin charges at least $2 extra per entree, but every day, 30% of the business still comes from them. So you could order from Tiffin directly. A $60 meal will cost you only $47, but people prefer to pay $60. So good for them. We jacked up the prices enough that it covers our commission, and people still keep ordering from them.
Yeah, look, I think it's something that has to be managed. And as you said, if you can direct traffic to your own site, and there is an element of consumer education, because I think a lot of consumers, again, some of it came to light during the pandemic. But I remember making a reservation in a restaurant, and the restaurant literally, I don't know if they could do this, they called me up and they said, would you mind canceling your reservation and making it on open table and doing it on Resi instead? So obviously there was a difference to them to do that. So obviously you have to be thoughtful and careful about how you message that. But I think consumers don't know. So it is a necessary evil, and the platforms serve a function, which is discovery, right? If you're a new brand, you get business that way. But once you have that business, once they've discovered you, for a customer to come back and order 10 times on Grubhub versus, ordering directly from you,